Hello and welcome to our preview of week number 6 of the football season. It's going to be a wet and chilly and windy weekend, folks, so dress appropriately if you're going out to one of these games. And we're going to talk about some of the games in the Suburban Trends area with who else but Tom Fiore of the Suburban Trends. And we were talking about the Lakeland-Wayne Valley game in a different segment, so we'll talk about all the other games here. And we're going to start with a pretty big game with Butler playing at Boonton. Butler 5-0. The Bombers, Boonton is 4-1. So what a pretty good challenge for the Bulldogs this week.
I think so, but, Boonton's they gave up 32 points last week to Kinnelon, 34 points the week before to Dover, and it was in the passing game that they gave up a lot of those points. That is Butler's specialty. They also showed they can run it, so if the weather is nasty, there's a good chance, they can still move the ball. Not necessarily a crucial game for Butler. They're number one in the power points. They're a point ahead of Mountain Lakes. They're 27 points behind, ahead of the number 8 team. So it's not necessarily a crucial one, but if they get it, they're almost assured the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, they look like they're in pretty good shape as it is. And Boonton, you got to watch out for Andrew Regan, who's having a very good season for them. He could be dangerous. All right, well, Whippany Park at Kinnelon, they're scheduled to play Friday night. Kinnelon's field sometimes isn't in great shape. We'll see if they go ahead and play that game. But both these teams are 0-5. Someone has to win the game, as they say, unless it goes to a triple overtime tie, which I don't think anyone wants to see. So what are your thoughts about this one?
I think this is Kinnelon's chance to finally get their first win of the year. I think they got some things going on offense last week with the passing game. It's a home game. Whippany Park has just been surrendering tons and tons of points all season long. So I think this is Kinnelon's to win.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I mean, I think, Kinnelon has been playing a little bit better, and Whippany Park's still struggling pretty much throughout the season. All right, now we move to Saturday, and the weather, again, is not going to be great. Garfield playing at Pompton Lakes. Pompton Lakes expected lost last week to Patterson Catholic. Now they're 2-3, so now they're up against it if they want to qualify for the playoffs again. This is an absolute must. Absolute
must win. I think you go into Patterson Catholic, you think you can win, but you have to come out thinking you're not going to. They have Garfield this week, then they have Hawthorne, which will be a big game next week. They have to run the table if they want to make the playoffs.
Your thoughts about that they're going to win this week?
I think they will. I think that the one thing about Pompton Lakes last week, even though they lost 39-0, they took everything Patterson Catholic could throw them. That team can take a punch. So I think they'll have an easy time with Garfield.
West Milford coming off one of the craziest games ever, beating Teaneck 42-41 last week. Unfortunately for the Highlanders, it's hard to carry the momentum forward into this week because they get to play St. Joe's on the road at St. Joe's. Not what the doctor ordered coming off such a big win last week.
No, I think that West Milford's going to regret the losses to Fairlawn and to Passaic Valley because Wayne Hills is going to be a tough game. St. Joe's, if they lose this game, they have 4 losses. They're done. Maybe if everything has to go break their way, and everything's got to go wrong for St. Joe's for them to win. And I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be St. Joe's.
Yeah, you have to favor St. Joe's. And now another big game on Saturday, Pequannock, who got the win last week to go to 3-2. But really, if you look at the way things stack up, even though they seem to have a pretty decent position right now in the PowerPoint, the reality of it is the next 2 weeks they're playing Kinnelon and Whippany Park. They're not going to get anything from winning those games. This is a game they have to win when they play at Morris Catholic on Saturday. This is really probably their game to qualify for the playoffs. Probably.
I mean, it is the toughest opponent they have left. They've won 3 in a row, Morris Catholic. But Pequannock, they went into the season, their motto was 6-2 in a state game. They win this game, they have a chance to go, 6-2 and get a state game. So I think they'll be up for it. I think they'll be ready. Be good to see them make the playoffs after the last few years.
Morris Catholic a little bit unpredictable this year. They have won their last 3. Tough to say. I mean, this one could kind of go either way. I think Pequannock would rather have nicer weather than they're probably going to have. I still think the Panthers can win.
So do I. And from the playoff perspective, I think they're in 3rd place in the PowerPoints. But there's only like 8 points separating 3rd place through 8th place. So it's a very tight bunch. So they have to get this win because Morris Catholic does have 3 wins. They got to get those add-on points. Every point matters.
All right. Well, that's Tom Fiore from the Suburban Trends. And we thank him for joining us once again. Folks, once again, dress appropriately this weekend. Or if you're not going to go out, if you're just going to stay home, then you can watch the highlights right here. And thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the sidelines.